So if you've decided then that you would like to be able to manage your Windows Azure subscription from within PowerShell, then we saw just previously that what you do have to set up is, for starters, a certificate. So again, under Settings, you just go to your Management Certificates and verify that your root certificate has been installed. And then, of course, we have to just simply download the Azure PowerShell from our Windows Azure homepage downloads. So once those two have been completed, then we're ready to effectively tie the PowerShell to your particular subscription. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. So once the installation is completed, we can just go and search for the Azure PowerShell. And there it is right there. And what you might want to do if you're going to be accessing this frequently is just right click on this and then pin it to your taskbar, which I have already done. That's why it says unpin. But that just gives you a little more easy access to it. So there it is right there. And this also allows you a nice easy run as administrator option just to make sure that none of your commands are blocked. So now we've got the Azure PowerShell installed. Take note, it's not your regular local PowerShell. In fact, it is the Windows Azure one. And what you need to do for starters is to get your subscription information into PowerShell. So how do we do that? Well, there is actually a command for doing exactly that within the shell. So this is step one. And what we're going to do is just type in get and then start typing in Azure. Now, for those of you who are familiar with PowerShell, I'm sure you know that what you can do with any commandlet is just to type in the first few characters and then start hitting your tab key. And that will always cycle through all of the options that are available with that particular commandlet. Now, the one that we need is to get the Azure publish settings file. So if you just type in that many and hit tab key, there's the command right there. So this is actually going to bring you automatically to a site where you can download all of your subscription information. So we'll just hit enter. And there it is. So as long as you're signed in, this will basically download all of your subscription settings automatically. If you aren't signed in, it'll prompt you to log in and away you go. So there's the file, and that contains everything about our subscription. So we're just going to save this. And I've just created a specific folder on my system called Azure Settings. Doesn't matter what you call it. You can save it anywhere, obviously. But this will just make it a bit easier to access from the shell. So we're just going to drop it in there, leave it as its default name, and save that. And that literally will only take seconds. It's a very small file. So I can minimize that. And if I just want to verify that it is in the correct location, I'll just go to that particular folder and make sure Azure Settings. There's the file right there. So we're set to go within our PowerShell now to pull that file in. So the command for that is to import Azure. And again, if I just hit Azure Pub, that's enough to indicate to PowerShell that that's the commandlet I want. So import Azure Publish Settings file. And then, of course, what we need to do is specify the file location. Now, I can probably make this a bit quicker just if I change to that directory first. So that's actually why I created that other directory. So I'm just going to cd Azure Settings. So now I can just run that command from within here, and I can find the file a little more easily. So import Azure Pub tab. And then if I just hit my tab key again, there's the file. So rather than having to type all that out and specify that, just makes it a bit easier. So once I do that, that pulls in all the subscription information into the Azure PowerShell. And because the certificates are there and because everything else has been set up and configured correctly, this PowerShell is now associated with my subscription. So I can verify that with the Get Azure subscription. Right, and I have to, there we go, tab through one more. So there's my Get Azure subscription, and this should show me all of the information about my subscription. And not only can I do this now, but I can get information about everything within my subscription. So there's tons of commandlets for this, but I can say Get Azure VM, for example. And this will show me any virtual machines that I have set up and running, and there's my virtual machine. So if I just go back to Azure to confirm that, just go to virtual machines, and you see there's the same one. So we can now fully manage our Azure subscription from the Azure PowerShell. And again, if you just do a get Azure, and again, just start tabbing, you see that there are just all kinds of commandlets that we can basically configure any one of these options by using our PowerShell, as opposed to just PowerShelling into a single virtual machine. So all kinds of options now to be able to manage remotely using the Windows Azure PowerShell.